bringing us on to red here with another one drop that I'm interested to hear what you think about this one. Goblin Mask Maker, single red mana for a 1/2. When it attacks, face down spells you cast this turn cost one less to cast.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So like the dream scenario is you
Okay.
play it on one and you play your disguise creature. Hurrah, you made a mana. But then it's just like does nothing. Like I guess you can attack it in, and maybe the turn after you don't mind them like eating it or something to get another mana. You cash it in almost like a wild canter or something. But you draw this later, it's terrible. Yeah, I think this card. And I'm the guy who talks up one drops all the time, but I don't think this one's good.
Like the huge benefit of going this into disguise creature on 2 into something on 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you could just go instead of this, just play a 2-drop, play your 2-drop on 2, play your disguise creature on 3, and you're like
Right.
roughly in the same spot.
Yeah. Not. I don't think this is also gonna be a card that you're gonna have games where your opponent does the thing. You don't have a 2, they do it twice, and you're like, oh my god. And you can kind of get tricked into thinking it's a little bit better than it is. But I think this is close to an F, honestly.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am with you there.
Yeah, I will just give this one an F, to be honest. I think you shouldn't put this card in your deck. Felonious Rage. This is single red mana for an instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. When that creature dies this turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token.
Yeah, so I actually quite like this thing.
Yeah, me too. It's
like
nice.
You do want to be casting it on something smaller, so like a novice inspector, a 1/1 token, a 2, like even a 2/2. But if you're casting it on a 2/2 or smaller, it's basically 1 mana win a combat, and it also can push damage and gives haste. Like there's a lot of upside to this thing.
Yeah, I like it a lot. There was Blessed Defiance in Midnight Hunt that like was better than this card. That one was white, gave lifelink, and made a flying token. But I think this card's not like leagues worse than it or anything. So I think it's just a solid combat trick. I'd give it a C.
C? Yeah, I'm with you on C.
Yeah, okay, cool. Next up, we've been talking about it. We got Shock. Single red mana, instant, deal 2 to any target.
Yeah, still going to be good, even though there's Ward 2 on a lot of the 3-drops. It can trade even mana for those if you want it to.
Yep.
And there's a lot of targets that when they flip up, it'll suddenly become shockable for 1 mana. So I think even though you might lose a bit of the value, like the tempo you're going to get on this, if you have your opponent spend 3 mana on a disguise thing, and then you block, and then they flip it up trying to like get value and win the combat, you can just set them back 2 turns. Like this card's going to be so good.
Yeah, I think this card's really good. Do you want to give it a B?
Yeah,
great.
I do.
B for Shock. All right, what's next?
Next is Innocent Bystander, 1 and a red for a 2/1. When it's dealt 3 or more damage, investigate.
Okay, so does not line up very well against disguised creatures. So it's like gonna get in a turn or 2, and then like you leave it back to block.
Well, okay, so does it not line up well against disguised creatures?
That's not correct exactly. It just doesn't like do the thing. You can't attack into a disguised creature and be that happy about it, I guess is all. But maybe you do. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's like you're not that sad about it. Yeah, you're not that sad about it.
It's got 2 power. Like that's what I said. As long as it has 2 power, I think I know what you mean. It's not always going to investigate.
Yeah.
And even if you double block with this and something else, they can always choose to deal it, 1 damage.
Oh, you know what? I guess what you're supposed to do with this is you're supposed to suspect it, right? Like then it's like okay,
that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, great, yeah.
This was the card that made me look up how many black commons, like black red commons, let you investigate other creatures.
Okay.
And I realized that there was 0.
Yeah.
So if you can suspect it, which like there's a couple of uncommons we've seen that do that already, I think it's incredible. Even if you can't, though, I think it's like fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. You talked me up on it. Do you want to just give it a C? Was it C plus ish to you?
I think I did a couple of like archetype skeletons, and I think there's few enough 2s, and this is one of the better ones that I'm going to give this a C plus.
Nice. Okay. Maybe yeah. No, I'll trust you've done more research in this particular topic than I have, so I will join you with that C plus.
Okay.
We got this is a funny one. Red Herring, 1 and a red for a 2/2 artifact creature. It's a cluefish. It's got haste and it attacks each turn if able, but it has 2 and sack it, draw a card, like all clues. So 2/2 for 2, attacks each turn if able, haste. Yeah, I think this one's gonna be pretty good actually.
Yes, but there's nothing that eats this.
Yeah.
Like, and if it does, you can either. This is a great card with Felonious Rage.
Yeah.
With the +2/+0 and make a 2/2. Because they're never they're going to block it as soon as they have a good block because you're forced to attack. there's a lot of ways to pump its power, and then worst case scenario, you can just crack it and draw a card if you need to.
Yep, and we're gonna see there's a few ways, like reasons to sacrifice artifacts or ways to sacrifice artifacts. We already seen them already, but like in red specifically. So if it's like you do have a kind of not great attack and you don't want to sack to draw a clue, you want to cast your removal spell instead, totally fine to do that. So I want to give this one a pretty good grade too. Like I could see this even creeping into like the B- range if things line up just right, but I'm gonna start C+.
I'm like, you do need to be aggressive.
Yes, for sure. Like,
but
no
I
question.
do want to give this a B- in the aggressive decks.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, I think that Valley Dasher was an underrated card back in cons. Like, it was very, very bad if you weren't the aggressive deck specifically, but a lot of people wrote it off as like trash tier, never play it. It wasn't quite exactly that. You just had to have the right deck for this, and this eliminates all the problems of that card. All right, we've got Demand Answers up next. 1 in a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sack an artifact or discard a card. You draw 2 cards. So a little Tormenting Voice, just that kind of card thrill possibility, but you can also sack an artifact instead of just having to discard a card.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to have that upside, kind of on the opposite spectrum from the last card we saw, where this one, in the decks that don't want to be attacking as much, this card's quite good.
Yep. It's kind
of... it's risky not to play out a 2, which we talked about, but I do like this card significantly more than Tormenting Voice.
Yeah, and if you got some clues lying around, you kind of like makes 2 mana for one of the clues, or you crack it for free is kind of the idea. Yeah, it's a solid card. I'd give it some like.
It gives you options with clues, right? Because you can either decide that you want to crack the clue first to have the extra card selection, because that could be the card you discard.
Yeah.
Or you can like pay 2 and just sack the clue and then save the 2 mana. So it's not giving you more cards than the clue would, but it gives you additional options there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, chat's pointing out, I mean, we said this, but Tormenting Voice is like not the greatest comparison because this one's an instant and that's more thrill of possibility. So what do you want to give it? Like C-?
C?
C? Okay.
I'm gonna give it a C.
Let's give it a C.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, okay. Galvanize. 1 in a red for an instant. Deals 3 to any target. Oh, sorry, to a target creature. But if you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Galvanize deals 5 damage to that creature instead.
There's going to be that really sweet moment where the first time you crack a clue and draw this,
and you're like, deck, oh my god, yeah.
You're just like, hot damn,
yeah,
my god did it.
Did it. I won 1 out of my deck and I drew it exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's just going to be good. Like it's no really, no world where this isn't a pretty good common, at very least. Probably might be one of Red's best ones, or Red's actual best one. Yeah.
Do you think this goes B+, or is it just a B?
I think B, because I was gonna say red doesn't have that much investigate, but that's not even true. I think it's like fairly spread out through all the colors. Yeah, I'll give it a B+. We'll give it a hot B+ there.
Sure, let's go B+. I'm with you.
All right, what's up next?
Gearbane Orangutan, 2 in a red for a 2/2 ape with reach. And when it enters the battlefield, choose 1. You can either destroy up to 1 target artifact, or you can sacrifice an artifact, and if you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Gearbane Orangutan.
Yeah, so this is the card we were kind of referring to with that artifact land, that if your opponent plays this and you have an artifact land to play, gonna have a bad time. Cool card, though. I think it's pretty sweet. Like, there are, like we mentioned, artifact creatures. We've seen a bunch of them. And sacking an artifact to put 2 counters on this, like, how often is that going to happen on turn 3? Not very often.
So I guess if you have a clue lying around, you would, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm just saying there's not that many things that naturally make a clue before turn 3.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Not a ton, aside from MVP, Novice Inspector.
Yes, exactly. The card just keeps getting better and better and better.
Yeah. But no, this card's really good. Like, yeah. I think I'm happy to main deck multiple of these even.
Yeah, I would say so too.
So does it make it into the B- range, or is it just a C+?
I think I'm just going to give it a C+, but I could see a creep in there. Yeah, I definitely could. Like, if it pans out that some of the artifact creatures, it's just like a matter of what ends up getting played a little more. If artifact creatures are really good and that those archetypes are good, then it's going to go up a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'll join you with C+ then.
The chase is on. 2 in a red for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike on the developed turn, and you investigate.
Yeah, so if you squint really hard, this is suit up.
Suit up, yeah. Just like really. Yeah, that you get to play in installments. I do think it's still a pretty good card, though. I do like this card.
Yes, like this is another benefit to having a bunch of stuff with menace because it's just probably gonna like almost 3 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
Kill 2 things and investigate, and then just like it's almost always going to win a combat because there's not much that has more than 4 toughness
Yeah.
to survive this kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I
this
think
kind
this
of.
card's good.
Yeah, no, I do too. It's kind of like the going rate for a combat trick that draws you a card, and makes you an artifact, which that definitely matters. C plus.
Yep, I'm
Cool.
with you.
Person of interest. 3 and a red for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you suspect it, and you also create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token, and that one is not suspected.
Yeah, this card's really good, but I will mention that same-sized bodies are always worse than different-sized bodies. I think I'm just going to give this another C plus.
Yep, me too. Yeah, nothing too complicated about it. Offender at large. 4 and a red for a 4/5. It's got disguise for
5/4.
Oh, sorry, 5/4. It's got disguise for the same cost, 4 and a red. When it enters the battlefield or is turned face up to 1 target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Yeah, so this one you're most likely going to want to cast it for its front side because it's 8 mana to flip it otherwise.
Yeah.
If you do, I think it's okay, like nothing special.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these like, yeah, it's like a fine 5-drop to put in your deck. Like they definitely make the 5-drops worth 5 mana. They're not just like dorky things, but they're also not exciting either. So I would give Offender at large like a C-, maybe D+.
Yeah, D+.
Yeah, D+, go D+.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, what do we have next?
Rebel Belt Braggart. 4 and a red for a 5/5. When it attacks, if it's not suspected, you may suspect it.
Cool.
So it gets to block first, and then it gets to attack nicely after.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. It's again, it's nothing special. It's still gonna be like a C-, D+ level card.
C-. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool.
Slightly better than the last one, but not by much.
Last red common, Suspicious Detonation. 4 and a red, 5 mana for a sorcery. It costs 3 less to cast if you've sacrificed an artifact this turn. It can't be countered, and it deals 4 damage to target creature.
Yeah, I think they could have made this an instant. I mean, not that they needed to, because red's already really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think this card is great.
This is like the low tier removal spell that like you'll pick up if you like need some removal desperately, and it'll be there probably mid pack. So yeah, I don't know, C-.
I was gonna go D+.
D+, yeah, fair enough. Okay. All right, yeah, we're just moving along here. Uncommons for red. Frantic Scapegoat. Single red mana for a 1/1. It is a goat, and it's got haste. When it enters the battlefield, you suspect it. So 1 mana, 1/1 haste menace. And whenever 1 or more creatures enters the battlefield under your control, if Frantic Scapegoat is suspected, you may suspect one of the other creatures. If you do, Frantic Scapegoat is no longer suspected.
Yeah, weird card.
Yeah, good one though, I think.
Yeah, like I'm not so sure.
Okay.
If you're taking the suspect off of this to something else, then you're left with just a 1/1.
Right.
Which, like, there are ways to turn that into a real card, I guess, which I've already been mentioning. So maybe, but I'm thinking this thing's like a C. Like, are you going much higher than that?
No, I was gonna say C+. I think it's a little bit better than that. I don't think like I'm not over the moon about it, but just pecks in a few times, maybe 3 points or something, then gives another thing or suspected. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's not a ton to hate about it.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up next?
Next is Convenient Target. Red for an aura. It's an enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, suspect enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and you can pay 2 and a red to return Convenient Target from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, so not one you're going to want to suspect or cast on your opponent's creatures that much, because they're going to get the +1/+1 bonus, right? Yeah.
No. But it will come up every once in a while.
It will, yeah. Good to note it. I think this card's solid. Like, it's not a premium way to push damage or anything, but it does help you grind out the game. It like both helps you grind out the game and is pretty good on curve as like a tempo thing where you're just like, all right, cast my 3, cast this, and then later you trade it off. It's gives you a bit of grind. So nothing too special, but I think it's just like a C level way to push damage.
Okay, so I like this more than that.
Oh, okay, yeah, talk me up on it.
It's almost like this kind of is almost like an equipment, right? Like where you can move it around, and 1 mana to make something +1/+1 and menace that you can rebuy, like that.
Yeah.
That's pushing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Also, sometimes you do like surveillance into the grave or whatever. Can I get it for free?
Right. Yeah, I actually hadn't even considered that. But
Okay,
I
no.
think
Even just that talks me up on it.
like if you like the goat, which is basically a 1/1, suspect.
Right, it's kind of the same thing.
This is
but more
this
modular.
is a 1/1 suspect that you can rebuy.
No. Yeah, no, I agree.
And you gave Scapegoat a C+.
Yeah, okay. Yep, you called me on it. You're right. You caught me. What do you want to give it? Also C+? B minus?
Yeah, I think I'm like I gave Scapegoat a C. I'm gonna give this a C+.
All right,
I could see this being really good.
Yeah. No, I like it. I agree. I'll bump my grade up to a C+ as well.
Okay.
Knife. Just knife. Single red mana. Clue token or clue equipment here. As long as it's your turn, the equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has first strike, 2 mana to equip, and it's got the clue ability, sack to draw a card.
Yeah, first strike is a good ability.
Yeah.
It only works on offense, but this one may be playable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think out of all of them, I like it as like fits into the deck it belongs, not just being like an equipment, like the black equipment. Who cares about that really? Like your black decks don't want equipment that much. The red decks do, and want artifacts as well. So yeah, I think this is a fine equipment. We gave the candlestick like a C or C minus.
I think this is a little worse than this. I was gonna give this a D+.
No, I agree. I'm just like as a kind of marker of like what the best one is. Yeah.
With Candlestick we gave C minus.
Yeah. I was gonna give this like a D+. Is that what you said too? Okay.
That's what I said.
Cool.
Yeah.
Reckless Detective. 1 in a red for an 0/3. It's a detective, of course. When Reckless Detective attacks, you can sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. If you do, you draw a card, and Reckless Detective gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Oof.
Yeah, what an ability.
Yeah, this card's great. So it's like
really good.
A better, not strictly better because it doesn't do it unblocked, but sort of a better volatile Wanderglyph from Ixalan, where you attack, you discard a card. Again, it's not like card advantage necessarily, but you're saving mana if you want to sack a clue. Maybe you have like an artifact token lying around, like a Thopter that you want to cash in for a card. Yeah, and it's also just with the Wanderglyph. Often your opponent was like, "Hey, I should block that because they're gonna get they're gonna keep filtering." 2/3 is way harder to block early than 2/2, especially in this set, right?
Yes.
Yeah, really good card. Premium too.
2/3 may often means needs to be double blocked, and then you can like blow them out somehow.
Get him with the +3/+0 first strike, make another one, and then you make it. Yeah, no, red cards look like they play very well together. Again, it's like the question for the premium 2 drops, B or B+.
I think this one's good enough that I'm going to say B+.
Yeah, me too. I think you're going to be very upset to see this on the other side of the battlefield.
Yeah.
Vengeful Tracker. 1 in a red for a 2/2. It's a detective. When an opponent sacrifices an artifact, Vengeful Tracker deals 2 damage to them.
Yeah, nice upside, and it's a detective, but still not like super thrilled about this. Like I assume you're just going to be getting into combat fairly early with this and trading it off as a 2/2.
Yeah.
And then if you draw it late, maybe it does some damage, but they can always respond to it. So
it's really good.
This is like a C.
Yeah, it's gonna give like a C minus. I think like it's a little too vanilla, a little too offense. Really good against Dockside Extortionists and Commander. Did you know that? Yeah, Mark just learned something. Do you know what that card does?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great. All right,
one of the few commander cards that I know.
Nice. What's up next?
Next, we have Concealed Weapon. 1 in a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0, and it equips for 1 in a red. But for some reason, it also has Disguise and can pose as a creature, as a 2/2 ward 2 creature, and flip up for 2 in a red.
Mm-hmm.
When it's turned face up, you can attach it to target creature you control.
So, like, +3 is a lot for what it's worth. Like, turns your small creatures into big creatures. And the equip cost isn't too bad. Two mana is not bad at all.
Mm-hmm. And it can be like a trick,
like a tricky thing. Yeah, or they go for a removal spell on your face down version of this, and you flip it up and equip it something.
If you're like empty-handed with this up, like they really won't see it coming.
How much do you like it though? We're talking about all these things that are like, yeah, look cool and tricksy, but
I think I like it like somewhere between C minus and C.
Yeah, I was gonna go C minus on it. I think it's
okay. Yeah. I'll join you there then.
Yeah. Expose the culprit. 1 in a red for an instant. Choose one or both. turn target face down creature face up, or exile any number of face down creatures you control with disguise in a face down pile. Shuffle that pile, then we're what, like 4 hours into the set review? We have a new mechanic here, and then cloak them. Okay, so cloak is not that different from disguise. To cloak a card, put it on the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature with ward 2. Turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. So in this context, it's not even that much different. But you can cloak cards from the top of your library. So for example, like cloak the top card of your library, they'll become a face down with ward 2, or face down 2/2 with ward 2. And then, like I said, if it's a creature, you can flip it up for its mana cost. But on this card, it's just like, cup game, put a bunch of, cup and ball game, put a bunch of cups on your disguised creatures, and which one's which now?
Yeah, this card is definitely bad.
Yes.
But it's not quite unplayably bad, because like it does save your face-up creatures from removal, and it is kind of cute to, like, if you have Bubble Smuggler, the 2/1 that when it flips up gets a bunch of counters on it, like you can then flip it up for 2 mana instead of 6.
Sure, that's kind of cute. Yeah. Also, just like, imagine a red-green disguise deck. You've just got some of those Helions, and you're like, all right, flip it. Like you attack in, they block with theirs. You flip it up. That's not even that bad, right?
It's basically what it's basically casting a ritual that adds 6 mana.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I don't think it's we're talking about these corner cases. I still think you probably shouldn't put this card in your deck. Probably gets not quite enough, like a D-.
Yeah, we're talking it out of the F range.
Yeah,
D-.
great.
I'm with you.
Awesome, fantastic. And yeah, by the way, for anybody who has played Konzatar Kier block, Cloak is what is manifest basically in 2024. That's disguise is to morph like Cloak is to manifest. Crime Novelist, 3 mana, 2 and a red for a 1/3. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, you put a +1/+1 counter on Crime Novelist, and you add red.
Single red.
Oh, sorry, red. Yeah, single red. My bad. That'd be broken.
We talked about how 1/3s are not quite the stats you want, but as soon as it becomes a 2/4, it's big. And it keeps helping you.
Yeah, and basically your clue, if you have other things to do with your mana, your clues only cost 1 to crack. This is another one I kind of went on a roller coaster of, like, oh no, it looks really bad, and then I kind of thought about it. I mean, 2/4 lines up pretty well against the format. I don't think it's fantastic, but I also don't think it's unplayable. You just kind of need to.
I was gonna give it like a C.
I was gonna go a little bit lower than that. I was gonna give it like a D+, and mostly because I think it's gonna be hard to get enough artifacts to really feel comfortable with it. Like enough clue cards and artifacts that are gonna sack themselves, but maybe not. Maybe I'm underestimating that.
Well, so as soon as you sacked your first clue to this,
it's like fine.
Yeah, it's a 2/4, and it's cost you like 2 mana instead of 3, right? Because like it's rebated you a mana.
Yeah,
that's decent.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with my D+, but I like the optimistic C. Here's a nice one. Case of the Burning Masks. 1 red for a case, of course. The end of the battlefield ability is when it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature an opponent controls. To solve it, 3 or more sources you control dealt damage this turn. So that could be this card, that could be creatures attacking, and it's not to your opponent. It's just like, creatures could attack and get blocked. That counts. The solved thing is you sacrifice this case. Yeah, it's an ability. It gains this ability. Wait, is it? Let me think. It gains the ability, and then you can sacrifice it, right? It's not just like you do the thing.
Yes.
Okay, so it gains the ability. Sacrifice this case. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You can choose one of them. You can play that card this turn.
Yeah, so you'll be able to use that on any future turn.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty easy to just solve this almost like immediately. Like it's gonna get solved on the turn you cast it a lot of the time, because it spots you 1 from just casting this, and just 2 creatures have to attack. That's it.
Yeah, even if you can't kill their 3-drop because it has ward, like if you go 1-drop, 2-drop, and then this kill their 2-drop and attack.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
That's great. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think this gets a little bit better because there's a bunch of disguised creatures running around, because often your 2-drop will be able to attack into their 3, where that's not often going to be the case in a lot of other sets. Yeah, great card. What do you want to give it?
Like it's probably somewhere between B+ and A-, honestly.
I was gonna give it a B+, but I could certainly see. I think the red probably holds it back from being an A- card, but agree.
Okay, so we'll go B+ then.
Yeah. What's up next?
Next, we have Harried Dronesmith. 3 and a red for a 2/3. Uh-oh. But at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. I'm getting to that point too. It gains haste until end of turn and sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step.
I think it'd be a lot cooler if we made an octopus token. So
yes,
this is an interesting card. You do get something immediately, like you get 1 damage. And maybe like you have ways to sacrifice. Like this provides you with a constant stream of artifacts to sacrifice, but it is quite small.
Yeah, you need to be doing something with this.
Yes.
But unlike most of the 4 mana 2/3s that don't have an ETB, I think you can do it to the point of playability.
Me too. It also works with the crime novelist we looked at a few seconds ago, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's definitely a synergy card where you need things to make use of the tokens. But if you have that, I think it's a good engine.
Do you want to give it like a Synergy C?
Yep, that's what I was gonna land to. Synergy C.
Okay.
All right. Cornered Crook, 4 and a red for a 5/4. Let's try again. Cornered Crook, 4 and red for a 5/4. When it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice an artifact, and when you do, Cornered Crook deals 3 damage to any target. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a nice ability.
Yeah, it's a good one. Do you like this better or worse than the 3 black one that sacks something to exile a creature?
Well, the body's bigger, but it doesn't exile the thing. It's probably pretty similar, actually.
Yeah, this goes to face too, for what it's worth. Like,
yes,
it does. Yeah, just a great card. I think this is another just a great uncommon. We've asked this question a lot with all these great cards, but B or B plus?
I am not giving it a B plus.
No,
I was going to go
think
between
so too.
B and B minus.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yep, just like you said, there is still a cost associated with these cards, not just like free real estate. So I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay, I think I gave the Eliminator a B minus, so I'll stick the same grade on this thing.
Sweet, and we've got another one here, another 5 mana card, Caught Red-Handed, 4 and a red for an instant, can't be countered. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste. Suspect it.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you haven't played with instant speed, action trees, and threatens before, they're really broken usually because you can like steal a creature in combat, it untaps, so you block your opponent's creature, kind of get a 2-for-1. But this card confuses me because it does none of that, but it's still costed at 5 mana. Like, is suspecting a creature like so good that it's worth the 2 mana? That, it's just odd to me.
Yeah, and it also, you only gain it until end of turn. It's not like a trigger, so you can't even cast this end step and keep it until your turn.
Yeah, can't do any shit. So yeah, it almost feels like something happened as they were designing this card and they forgot to like change something because it just like it doesn't add up. The abilities in this card don't add up to me to making it worth 5 mana.
Yeah, I just like the benefit of making it an instant for this card is so minor.
Right.
Because the only time you're going to use it is like there's a few scenarios where you can use it. You can eliminate an attacker is one. The cutest thing you can do is in response to an edict, you can steal their creature and have them edict themselves. But aside from that, like there's very little that wants you to cast this on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, if they have cast a fight spell, you can fizzle it because they no longer control the creature that they're fighting with. Like that probably works.
Yeah, it's just a really weird card.
Yeah,
I don't
strange.
think like it costs 5, and I don't think it's very good.
No, I'm gonna do this like a D minus. I don't think it's very good at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
cool.
with you there.
We've got Bullrack Clan Basher, 4 red for a 3/2 double strike trample with disguise for 3 red.
Yeah, this is what I talked about when I said if your opponent flips up a thing and you shock it, it's gonna feel pretty good.
yeah, just a big ol' 8 mana worth of 2 toughness. Yeah. I don't think this card's terrible. Like, it's not like unplayable.
No, like it pushes a lot of damage.
Right.
But I think it's definitely somewhere in the D range.
The D range, yeah. I would agree with that. I would just give it a D.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And one last card here, Torch the Witness. X and a red for a sorcery. Torch the Witness deals twice X damage to target creature. If excess damage was dealt to a creature that creature this way, you investigate.
Banger.
Yeah,
This card's great.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Red's just got all these like card, like we've seen 3 red uncommons that kill a thing and give you value, right? This, the case, and the 4/5 that comes in and deals 3. Like Red's just gonna be able to value you out of the game as well as attack you.
Yeah, this thing is what, like, is this a B plus
yes,
or a B?
I would give this a B plus. Like twice X means you're dealing 4, like just straight up, you're getting 4 for 3 mana, which is like kind of going rate, and you also get to investigate most of the time.
Yeah.
And you can like pumping 1 more mana into it to make sure you do investigate, like on some some bigger creatures. Yeah, card's just great.
Yeah, if the game is about value, it probably means you have mana and means you can pay that 1 extra and get more value.
Yeah. Like you said, red just looks fantastic. So this is the end of red. I don't know if there's too much to say other than it just looks really good.
So there is something I wanted to say.
Yeah,
I've saved it for red, and it's our frequent chat member NCAA will agree with me for saying this, because I saw him talking about potentially drafting mono red in this set.
I can see it.
And mono red and mono white both seem totally doable to me. Red even more so than white, but especially because of all of the hybrid flip cards. Like you get the dog walker, you get the gadget, whatever,
inspector
technician type of thing. And there's so many good plays at 1 and 2 mana in red compared to the other colors.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be pretty easy to have decks where you're either close to mono or mono splashing either 1 or even maybe 2 colors. Like I could see something like a 9/3/3 Evolving Wilds mana base.
Yeah, definitely.
Where you're like 1 main color, and then you get 1 rare that's really good that splashes 1, and 1 rare that's really good that splashes another. So one thing I'm really looking forward to in this set is kind of the push and pull with how much you lean into a certain color versus the other. And I think it's going to be really flexible, and I think it'll give you a lot of replayability with the drafts to decide how close you are to 50-50 compared to 100-0 of a type of color.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Like that's one of the things I was thinking about as I was really like doing a deep dive on the set. Even if the balance is kind of off here and there, like they don't often get the balance perfect or close to perfect, but there is a lot of different, like your decks aren't going to all look the same, right? And I think that's a real big factor for a set being replayable. So sweet.
And one thing we haven't mentioned up to now that we probably should have a lot earlier, even though the pack composition is different with play boosters and you get less commons and potentially more uncommons and more rares, the frequency at which you see certain cards is going to stay fairly similar. So the frequency at which you're still going to see roughly like 2.5 of each common in each draft, which is similar to before. You'll see slightly more of an uncommon, and you'll see slightly more of a rare, but it washes out to pretty much the same type of frequency.
Yeah, no, that is a really good point.